Hello, children. This is lesson 6 in module 6. Aren't you glad to be here on another video? The objective for this one is to investigate patterns in vertical and horizontal lines and interpret points on the plane as distances from the axes. This is going to be key here. When you leave an axis and you go a distance away, you're using the other axis's number. So kind of a key element of this lesson. Little bitty warm up here when we talk about fractions. You can interpret them as decimals when they have tenths, hundredths, or thousandths as your denominator. So 2/10 would look like 0.2. 6/10, 0.6. 12/10, if you have double digits, remember it bumps it into the next column. So this would be 12/10, 14/10, 16/10, 18/10, 20/10. Just know that that's going to be part of our lesson today, is using decimal fractions to identify numbers on a line. So why do I have everything covered up? Because I have the answers over here. So if you take a minute to draw a number line and then put these little tick marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 tick marks. The bottom one is 0, the top one is 1, and then you label A for the first one, B for the second one, and then skip 0.5. Okay, part of the lesson is to remind yourself, always know what the number lines are counting by. And so identify what would be the value of point A, point B, and point C. So do that now. Pause the video, and then come back and check your answers. And then for another line, okay, if you are given this vertical line, and we've got we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points again, okay, and I've got a 2 here and a 1.9 here. I probably just gave you D, but what are they counting by? What would be E? And what would be, if this is 1, okay, there's your E, and you would have a 1.4. So again, counting by tenths. Now here's another number line going a different direction still, okay, and this one is a little bit different because if I have the 1.0 and a 1.2, then we're not counting by tenths, okay, it's a skip of 2/10 for each tick mark. So what would be H? How about F? How about G? So figure it out, pause the video, and then check your work and see how you did. So a lot of what today is about is just checking what is the number line counting by, and how can I be really careful with where I'm plotting my points. How can I label your number lines very carefully. So let's get into the book then, and you're going to need some coloring implements today. If you have colored pencils, red and blue is what they recommend. And if you have crayons, that works perfectly well. So let's get started. Plot the following points and label them on the coordinate plane. Notice that our coordinate plane is labeled. Please put X and Y. Please do that first so that you will remember which one is X and which one is Y. Remember also to put X and Y at the top to remind yourself that the X value is going to come first in the ordered pair. Okay, so for point A, we have 0 and 3/10. So if we're counting by line, 5/10, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10/10, we know that we're counting by tenths. And you don't have to number every single one because, as you'll see, sometimes the numbering gets really cumbersome, okay, because it takes up a lot of space. So if you number every other, that can work just fine to help you get through. So I have 3/10 for my first one, 1, 2, 3, and then 1/10 for my Y value. You can also label these comparing. Usually these are going to be counting by the same, usually. And again, if you just do every other, that will help you at least get some reference point to compare. So 0.3 and 0.1 will have our A. And then for B, we have 0.3 and 0.7. And for C, 0.2 and 0.9. So 2. Very carefully follow it up. I'm going to put it to the left here. And I can move it if I need to. And then for D, 0.4 and 0.9. Okay. Now, it says, use a straight edge to construct line segments A, B, and C, D. So this is a line segment, so it's going to be just between the 2 points. So stop at those points. Line segment CD, stop right on those points. Don't extend it and don't put arrows. Line segments, did it. Line segment what is parallel to the x-axis, okay? If x goes this way, then the line that goes this way is parallel. So it's going to be CD is parallel to x. And perpendicular, sometimes all the extra words, just check and make sure you've answered it correctly, but perpendicular, remember, means creating a 90-degree angle. Don't let all the words confuse you. Line segment what is parallel to the y-axis, parallel to y, would be line segment AB, and perpendicular to x. So it would cross it at a 90-degree angle. That's our AB. Plot a point on line segment AB. So it has to be in one of these points that is not at the end points, can't be A or B, and name it U. Now you can decide it's going to be here, 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 or here. Okay? Does not matter. I'll just put mine here and say U. Write the coordinates. Okay? Whatever yours is. Okay? Mine is at 0.3 because this whole line has x at 0.3, but my U is at 0.4. You be careful and make sure that your U crosses the y-axis where you are identifying it. Okay, you may have 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. I don't know. You check your work. Okay, plot a point on line segment CD. On line segment CD, we have like one choice, and name it V. Write the coordinates. Okay, so if this is my point, then I have 0.3, and my Y value is going to be the same as everything else on line CD. 0.9, 0.9, 0.9. Okay, hopefully you guys got that. I'm going to turn the page, because we get to do a little bit of drawing on this back side here. We're going to construct a line F, that's a fancy cursive F sort of, such that the Y coordinate of every point, go ahead and do that for your little cheat sheet, of every point is 3.5, okay? And construct line G such that the X coordinate of every point is 4.5. So for line F, it's going to be anything and 3.5. And for line G, the X coordinates are all going to be 4.5. And this Y is going to be anything. Okay, so let's do F first. If we have any X, but all the Y's are 3.5, then let me get my ruler. Okay, if you had like, say, 1, 3.5, 3, 3.5. Okay, these are just to help you think. So the X value is going to change, but the Y value will not. And we're constructing a line, so it's going to go all the way through. And put arrows at the ends. And you could have 6, 3.5. Okay, so you have all the points, every single x value on this line is going to change. Could be half, could be 1, all the whole numbers. It can be any half number between 0 and 6 as well. Label this line F. And then we also need to label line G so that it's always 4.5. Okay, so that's going to be, these are for F. And then for G, you can just make up all your Y's, but your X's will all be 4.5. So let's just do like a 1, and then 4.5 and 3, and 4.5 and 5. Okay, and so all you need are 2 points in order to connect. And so if I have 4.5, and it's going to be on this line, then make your arrows at the top and bottom, and label it G. Okay, now line F, this is the lesson. This is the part of the lesson today that you really have to understand. Line F is how many units from X. Okay, how many units from X? It's 3.5. 3.5 units from X. So we're leaving the X unit, and that means we're using Y. Give the coordinates of the point on line F that is 1/2 unit from the y-axis. Okay, so it's on line F, and it's 1/2 unit from y. So this point here would be 1/2, and then 3.5. 1/2, and then 3.5. Okay, because it's on line F, and you can have any point, but you have to have the 3.5. So that matches. With a blue pencil, shade the portion of the grid that is less than 3.5 units from X. Okay, less than 3.5 from the x-axis. Less. Less than 3.5 is going to be, I gotta go faster, anything below 3.5 on this whole grid. Okay, anything below 3.5 gets shaded, so shade the whole bottom half. Line G is how many units from Y? 4.5. Give the coordinates of the point on line G that is 5 units from the x-axis. Okay, so it's 5 units from X. So that's going to be a Y value of 5. But the X value has to be 4.5. Okay, so that would be here. We don't have to label the point any letter because we're not putting the point. We're just saying that's where it would be. Now with a red pencil, shade the portion of the grid that is more than 4.5 units from the y-axis. Here's Y, and we're going to shade what's more than 4.5. More than 4.5. That's going to be all this, all the way down. Okay, so you have kind of a crisscross section here. Okay, and so what you're trying to identify is occasionally they'll say, name a point in the double shaded region. And you could pick any XY coordinate point in this region. Okay, so that's, I think that's what we're going to do on the next one. But just keep an eye out for what is happening here. We're moving away from the axes. Complete the following tasks on the plan below. Construct a line M that is perpendicular to X. Okay, if it's perpendicular to X and X is at the bottom, then it's going to be a vertical line. And we're going to create line M that is 3.2 units from Y. So now we're using the from Y to give us our X value. 3.2 units from Y. Look at your number line, okay? And you have to figure out what you're counting by. Now this time I have line, 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 1. So we're not counting by 1/10. It's going to be 2/10. Okay, then this one will be 4/10. Oops, 6/10, 8/10. So every line represents 2/10. 1.2, 1.4, 1.6, 1.8. If you need to, mark these, okay, so that it will help you identify which lines have which value. Okay, that's going to be the very first thing you always have to do is what are they counting by? Because now I'm going to make my line M that is out here on the 3.2 from Y. So I have to leave Y, and I need 3.2, but that's the first line because remember we're counting by 2/10. So on this line, I'm going to construct a line that is perpendicular to X on the 3.2 from the y-axis. So I have to go up and down, up and down. Okay, and this is line M. Line M, fancy cursive. Construct a line A that is 8/10 unit from the x-axis. Okay, this is the x-axis at the bottom. I need to construct a line that is 8/10 unit away. Go to the 8/10 from like over here on the side. Okay, and then make it go all the way through. Remember, if you're counting by 2/10, it's going to be the fourth line up. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Line A is who we appreciate. So there you go. Label it line A. Check it off. Construct a line T, fancy cursive, that is parallel to M. Here's M. So T is going to be somewhere like this. That is parallel to M and is halfway between M and the axis. Okay, well, how many lines are between the axis and M? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, if there's 16, then we need it to be on the 8th line. You can also do 3.2 and do half of that. Okay, and so it's going to be the halfway right here. Going through the 16, 1.6, and we're going to construct that neatly and go all the way through. Okay, arrows at the top and bottom. This is line T. T. And it's parallel to M, and it's halfway exactly between M and the axis. Next one, construct a line H that is perpendicular to line T. So if this is T, then H has to be this way. And it passes through the point 1.2 and 2.4. So let's make that. 1.2 is down here. And then go up. Here's 2, 2.2, 2.4. That's my point that the perpendicular line must pass through. So nice straight line. And when I go right off the edge of my book here, it's probably going to go wonky, but that's okay, close enough. Okay, this is line H. Okay. Using a blue pencil, here's where we get our shading. Shade the region that contains points that are more than 1.6 units, okay, from what? We haven't gotten there yet, and less than 3.2 units from Y. Okay, so we got it. We're shading. We have to go from Y, and it's going to be more than 1.6. Here's our 1.6 right here, and less than 3.2. So this is going to be blue. Shade it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be shaded enough so that you know that this whole section is blue. Okay, top to bottom, all blue. Okay, there we go. Super neat and pretty. And did that. Now using a red pencil, shade the region that contains all the points that are more than 8/10 units. So we're looking at this one. And less than 2.4 units, that's this one, okay, from the x-axis. So this whole region here needs to be red. Just double shade right over that blue. I wonder, like, we have all those videos with like coloring pages and, you know, oh, it's so soothing. And then I go like this. No, don't do that. Keep going the same direction. Okay. Done. Give the coordinates of a point. A is a fun little article that means any. That lies in the double shaded region. Okay? Ordered pair, any point, but it can only be in here. Okay? So you could go and you could use 2. Anything between 2 and 3 for X is okay. Okay? Well, actually, anything between 1.8 and 3 would be fine. You don't want to put it on the line, so keep it in between. So only 1.8 to 3. But it could be with a Y value of 1 to 2.2. Okay? And those would be all fine. So you can just randomly pick a spot, figure out what your values are. This one's going to be a 2.2 and a 1.8. And that falls in the double shaded region. You can have any, and it doesn't have to match mine. Okay? And I know this is a challenging lesson because my students always have to recolor things. I colored the wrong section. So I know this is going to help a lot of people. I hope it's helpful. Click subscribe, come back again, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.